this is lesson number 117. And it starts off on number 1. The library put 3 of each kind of book in a display. There were 7 kinds of books. By the end of the day, all but 2 books had been borrowed. How many had been borrowed? Write 2 number sentences and solve for X. Okay, so this is a 2-step problem, and the clues are write 2 number sentences and solve for X. And it's asking for 2 different kinds of things that we need to do. The library put 3 of each kind of book in a display, and there were 7 kinds of books. So if I had 7 kinds of books and there's 3 of each of the 7 kinds of books, it's going to be a multiplication equation that I'm going to set up first. So 7 times 3, which is going to be 21. So I figure out the first step. So I have my total is 21. By the end of the day, all but 2 books had been borrowed. Okay. So I need to find out how many were left. Okay, or how many had been borrowed. All but 2 books. All right. So I would get 21. If it's borrowing, it will be taken away because how many had been borrowed? Because if all but 2 books had been borrowed, by the end of the day, all of them had been borrowed except for 2. Right. So 21 take away 2 is going to get us 19. Okay. So it looks like 19 books had been borrowed. Okay. That one was a little tricky, mostly because in this book we hadn't really done too many word problems with multiplication and then, subtraction in it. It's just the way that they word the problem can be tricky, but the best thing to do, to tackle this kind of problem is to take it step by step. Number 2, in the box, write the letter that shows 1/4. So I'm looking for which letter shows 1/4, and I found it right here. So this is 1/4 of this number line, which is going to be B. 3, round 743 to the nearest hundred. If I'm rounding to the nearest hundred, I always look at my tens place, because this is a number that's going to change or stay the same. So if my tens place, if it's greater than 5, I'd round up. But if it's less than 5, I round down. So 4 is less than 5, which means that 743 is closer to 700. 4. What number is 100 more than 423? 100 more? Well, I'd have to add 100 to 423 and get my answer. 5. 7 times 9. If multiplication is still tricky, you could always do an array where you'd put either 7 rows with 9 in each row, or you could flip this around and have 9 rows with 7 in each row. 6. Which is greater, 1 inch or 1 foot? Remember that an inch is roughly about this big, and a foot would be about here. So which one is greater? It's going to be 1 foot. 7. Write the number 12 as a fraction. Remember that 12 is equal to, if I write it as a fraction, so I want the whole number 12, write it 12 over 1. And you could put it in the fraction boxes. 8. The play will begin at 4:30. It is 4 o'clock now. In how many minutes will the play begin? So the play is going to begin at 4:30. It's 4 o'clock right now. There's a difference of 30 minutes. So the play would begin in 30 minutes. Turn to page 298 of your hands-on pages. Measure pencils A, C, E, F, and Q to the nearest 1/4 inch. Use X's to add the data to the line plot. So like I said before, if you don't have a ruler, you can feel free to skip it. 300 take away 76. I'd set it up this way. If I did it this way, I will need to borrow because 0 is less than 6. This would become a 2. I have to borrow again. This is a 10. Now it's a 9. And we have a 10 here. Okay. I could also do that trick where I take 1 away from here and 1 away from here. Could try that. Be 299. Take away, it would be 75. And you should get the same answer. Actually, 76. I cut that with my double checking because before I even start solving the problem, I make sure that it does match. Okay. 11. Find the lengths of side X and Y on the rectangle to the right. So we have X and Y missing, but I do already know that I have this length here, which is 8, and I have this length here, which is 10. And the way the rectangle works is that whatever's on this side should match this side. So this would be 8 inches, and then across from 10, because I could even check it, they're the same length. This is also going to be 10 inches. 12. 366 plus 475. 13. 80 times 8. Forget the trick of multiplying two numbers and then adding a 0. 14. Make a pictograph. Label the side and bottom. Design a symbol to represent 5 vehicles and fill in each key. Okay, and I could tell that 15 also goes with this graph. Remember to add a title, then fill in the information to complete the graph. Wow, this problem looks pretty similar to a problem that we did in the past. So you can look back at previous lessons and you can see what we did here, just to kind of just remind us. So there's a title, we label our graph here, and then it wants a picture, like what we did over here, to represent 5, because I know that this group of tally marks, there's 5 in each one. So I'm going to do the same for this last problem. So it says vehicles in the neighborhood: sedans, vans, trucks, SUVs. Well, I could still call it vehicles in the neighborhood. Vehicle stands for cars and trucks and vans, because if I just said cars in the neighborhood, well, then there'd just be a list of different types of cars. But I can tell here that this is not just about cars. So I'll put vehicles in the, going out of the box, but oh well. Neighborhood's a long word, so just cut it off there. So we have sedans, we have vans, trucks, SUVs. Okay. We have to do 5, draw a symbol that represents 5. So, I mean, I could draw a car. That's my quick car there. Maybe it would look something like this. And I would put one of these for each 5. So it's a pictograph, which means that you're showing the graph in pictures. So if I count here, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, we have a total of 70. And I have how many groups of 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I have 14 groups of 5. That means I'm going to have 14 pictures in this row right here. So I could draw the pictures, or I could maybe just draw circles, which might be, maybe I'll do something like this for the wheels, just because it will take quite a bit to draw a detailed car. But if you have the time, go ahead and do it. So I said there was 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So here's like my little cars. Okay, and so on. Then I look at how many would I have in my vans, and then I would count again, just like how I did this, and I'm showing the amount just within a picture. Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message, and that's about it for lesson 117.